Hi guys, welcome. My name is Stephanie with Lettered by Stephanie. I'm a hand lettering artist, and I'm here today to share with you guys some of my favorite tips for some fun lettering that you can totally use within your planners. I've been a hand lettering artist since about 2017, and welcome to my office here. Today, I'll be utilizing just some plain notebook paper or printer paper to show you some things. I'll also doodle in my Dream Plan Do planner here and a little bit in my own planner called Make Today a 10. You can find more details about this on my website, letterbystephanie.com. But let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, first up, I'd love to share with you guys some of the pens I'll be using today. And I'm sure you guys have your very favorite pens, but for lettering, these are usually my go-to. So first we've got the Tombow dual tip, and I love these for lettering. I actually really love Crayola Super Tips for lettering. Now in a planner, these might letter too big, but maybe if you're doing your own to-do list or an envelope or something, these are really fun to letter with. I also really love Papermate Flare pens and Papermate Inkjoy. And I've got a couple of the Pilot, the erasable highlighter, and the fine liner. So these will be some of the pens that I use today. I'd love to hear what pens you love to use in your planner. So if you find me on social media, you can send me a DM and let me know which ones are your favorites. All right, so first we are going to jump into I think my five ways to kind of get started with lettering in your planner to kind of jazz up your own handwriting. So the first thing we're going to talk about is varying the midline, okay? And so when you are drawing letters, there is a midline for those letters, and that midline is usually right around here, and it's where your E's cross, your H crosses, your R's and P's connect down. So we're gonna look at what it looks like when you vary your midline, all right? Let's take the word January. Let's work with that for the first one. So I'm going to simply start writing January, and I'm going to use a fairly normal midline. I'm gonna go with kind of a tall, skinnier style. All right, and as you can see, if we were pretending there were some imaginary lines here, this would be our baseline and our caps line, and our midline would fall right around here. And you can see I'm pretty close to the midline all the way across. So one of the ways that we spruce up our writing and just change it up some is using a high or a low midline. So we're going to write January again, and this time we're going to use a high midline. Is gonna go up there, and our Y, and there you go. So that has kind of changed up that style to look a little bit different, okay? All right, so then another one you can do is just drop the midline to have a low midline. So we're gonna do that also. Top and a smaller bottom, and same with your Y. All right, so there you have one way to just simply change up some of your normal writing in a fun way. Now, there are things that you can do to even take this even further. So we can thicken up the downstrokes on these to make stand out a little bit differently. So thickening up the downstrokes in the hand lettering world is called faux-ligraphy, or like cheaters calligraphy. Okay. Another thing that you can do, I guess we should round out a little bit there. Okay. Add some oomph to that there. Okay. So that has kind of jazzed up that even a little bit more. Another thing that you can do is to add serifs to your writing to just give them a little bit more style. So serifs are just like the little feet that are on all of the ends. Okay. And you can do it on, like on this J, we can have little down ones, or you can leave them off. All right. And there you go. Another little way to jazz up that writing. All right. So that is varying the midline. Next, I want to talk about mixing up your caps and lower cases. This is another way to just kind of take some normal writing and make it a little bit more fun. Okay, I'm gonna use my Tombow here. And first I'm gonna write February now. Let's play along with February. So I'm gonna start with a capital. And then I'm mostly going to lowercase my vowels. Okay. All right, so that is another way to kind of make our lettering more fun. So take it a step further and let's do that again, except this time let's do what we did with the last one and let's make our downstrokes thicker. And let's add some serifs. Okay, so your pen's going up here and then it's going down here. So that's where we thicken it up at. Here we go. This is a downstroke, so we thicken that up. Let's put some feet on there. Now, with something like a B, you can just not downstroke any of the bumps, or you can add a little bit to where your pen is naturally going down. It's totally your call on how you want to do that. I'm gonna make the R a little bit smaller than the B just to add some variance there and make it a little bit more whimsical. And I'm actually going to kind of drop down lower than normal below that baseline. Okay, it's another way to jazz up our whimsical up our hand lettering. Okay, so now since I've kind of been going down, I want to keep varying it, so I'm going to go ahead and make that A. Even though it's going to be a small case, I'm going to make it like a bigger size small case. So So there you go. You've taken February and you mixed up the caps. Now we've added some thicker downstrokes and some serifs to the ends of our letters. And now one more thing we're gonna do is just kind of take it to the next level as far as mixing up. I mixed up the baseline here. Not everything stayed along that even baseline, but we're also going to add some like fun tilt to our letters this time. So I'm going to start with the lowercase f this time. again, I'm going to make those thicker downstrokes. You can see I've kind of got the F going this way, the E kind of going up and down, the B this way, the R this way, and this adds some more fun and variance to our writing. So there you have a few fun ways to play with mixing up your caps. So all right, awesome. I hope you guys are having fun with this so far. Bold letters. These can be intimidating if you are not a well-practiced letterer. It could feel a little bit scary to try to freehand some bold letters. So one of the tricks to doing that is to write it in pencil. I'm going to march this time. And then you'll take your marker and kind of trace around that to help you get your shaping for your bold. Lettering on an iPad now, which is mostly what I do, is it helps with that stabilization. Okay, so once you have your outlines drawn, you can go back in and erase the inside lines, the pencil lines that you used, okay? Or you can use them, leave them there as part of the decorative nature of it. But we're going to take this a few steps further to give your letters some more oomph, okay? So we can, after this, I'm just going to clean up, my R was a little bit messy, but you guys get the idea there. So we can go ahead and do another outline around it. And this outline we're going to end up filling in, and it's going to really give all right. And from there, you can jazz it up a little bit more by maybe adding stripes to the inside. finer and run over make an outline for when that color variance happens. It switches from the white to the pink outline. So small details like that really give things their oomph. And if you're like me, you'll have to stop and rest your hand sometimes. All right, I will finish that one another time. I want to show you something else when it comes to doing your bolder letter. Another thing you can do is use a highlighter to write your bolder letters. Might have to be a little bit better with a highlighter than I am. And you have to be able to spell. I can't spell. I mess up spelling all the time when I'm drawing some of my quotes that I draw. Then you get your thinner marker and you create the outlines, and it looks like you drew the bold letter and colored it in. All right, another thing that you can do with bold letters is to add a drop shadow, okay? So if you're adding a drop shadow, you're imagining that light is shining from one direction and the shadows are creating on the opposite side. So if the light is shining in from this way, okay, the shadows are gonna fall on this side, okay? Anything that the light wouldn't naturally touch because it's coming from this direction. So where you're going to create those drop shadows, okay? Okay, so on the A, if the light is it's gonna hit there and it's gonna hit here and here. So we're gonna draw our shadows on the parts that it's not going to reach. Okay, so it's going to hit this side. It won't hit right in there. Or down here. Or down on this side. Over here. Same with the C. It's not going to hit on the inside here. So we'll create that shadow there. It's not going to hit on this outside here. H. All right, so we are working on faux-ligraphy now. And we're going to work with April. So, I was writing in cursive for April. I might write it like that on my own, okay? But if I was going to write with faux-ligraphy, I'm going to make those downstrokes thicker. Just like that. Now we're going to do P, and downstroke right there. It's a downstroke right there. Now this time I'm going to start the R on its own. Okay, so we went up with the R, around, and right here we go down. And we come across and we go down here. So we make that thicker. And draw the I. And then the L is going to go up and around. So we go down. Now when you're doing faux-ligraphy, one of the nice things is it's forgiving on whether you go, I typically go on the right side of the letter, but it's forgiving. In that case, I felt like the L was a little bit further away from the I, so I added some to this side to kind of tighten those letters up. I'm going to go ahead and draw a heart for my I's dot. So you can see the difference that really gives some oomph to your words when you add that extra downstroke to thicken that up. Okay, so again from here, we could totally go in and do some of those shadows again. We could add some extra color along the sides to make it a little bit more fun. And just give it some extra prettiness for our planners. All right, something else I want to show you, this is kind of the last bit, is I want to talk about what it's like to do flourishes. Okay, so with flourishes, we will, I'll do the word April, and then we'll pick one that has some more opportunities for flourishes. So if I was going to do the word April, okay, so flourishes are when maybe your Y goes and does something fancy at the end of it. It's those tails where you can get a little bit more fancy. So if I was gonna try to make the word April a little fancier, I would switch my A, and I would draw my A more like this, okay? So I've added a little bit of fanciness to these tails and to our crossbar, and then to our tail over here. And then with that, again, we can do the thicker downstrokes. Taken a word that was pretty basic and jazzed it up, and then really made it fun here. So from here we could then again add some color to it to make it more fun, just like we did before. But I want to talk about some words where there's maybe more opportunity for some flourishes. So how about we do Monday? Monday has a lot of fun on it, so. All right, so Monday we start off, let's just write Monday first, how we maybe normally would. Okay, so there's our Monday originally. So now if I wanted to try to make it a little bit more fun and fancy for my planner, I would start with giving it a tail over here, and then make my downstroke. All right, now I'm going to make my humps, and I'm going to make them, one goes up higher than the other one, because that just gives it some more variance and makes it a little bit more interesting. I'm also going to let that go down below the baseline look a little bit fancy there too. Okay. Alrighty. Next I'll do my O. Here, I'm going to thicken up the downstroke there. That's a downstroke there. And there we go. Alright, so in we have another chance to kind of dip down below the baseline. And we could even do a curl on your tails that go below the baseline if you wanted. I just want to show you that option as well. All right, now the D, one of the fun things we can do with the D is on its instead of its descender, which anything that goes below the baseline is called a descender, it has an ascender, which goes above, which we can really jazz up. So what I typically do is I will draw my loop on my D. And when I'm first starting, so now at this point in time, I would draw my whole thing at once. But if I was just starting, I would go ahead and now then draw my stem here. And then I would come up here and I would loop it around, okay, to make it a little bit more fun. Now after you've practiced this for a while, you would go ahead and just do the whole thing in one swoop. But that does take some practice, so I wanted to show you how you can break it into steps while you are learning. All right, we're gonna swoop back up. The A is gonna be pretty standard. Just thickening up that downstroke. You guys getting tired again, can you tell? All right, and our Y, obviously we have some choices on what we can do with our Y because we have this tail. So some of the things that we can do with Y's with the tails is we can just get fancy like that, okay? We can come down and loop like that. We can kind of get really big like that. There's all sorts of things we can just make it curly, all sorts of things like that. So could even kind of go down and then like underline the whole word with it. Ooh, let's try that. I'm gonna try it. It might be messy. A lot of times I would sketch these in pencil first before just going for it, but okay, so I'm gonna have it kind of break through there and go like that. All right, and then we have our fancier Monday by adding these bits of flourishes here and there. So I hope that has given you guys some ideas on how to jazz up. We played with our midlines, making it high, making it low. We've added thickness to our downstrokes, and we've added feet serifs to some of our drawings. Here we mixed up caps and lowercase and uppercase. We also adjusted the tilt of the letters and varied that baseline where things fell on the baseline, things fell above the baseline, and some went under the baseline. Okay. We've played with bold letters and how to make those if you don't feel like you can freehand draw them. We're going to draw with a pencil and then trace around. And we dealt with faux-ligraphy, where we use cursive and thicken those downstrokes. We added some shadow work to that. And then we played with flourishes, where we kind of add some tails and curves to our ascenders, descenders, tails, all of that. So I hope that's really been fun and helpful. I wanted to share with you a few other ways to add some oomph to our planners that we can do with little doodles. Move these pins out of my way. Little doodles and stuff like that. So let's take a look inside here. So I'm sure you guys before have done little things like making your numbers flags, okay? You can do that too with your month. okay? So then you could take your highlighter and then kind of color that in. All right, so another way is you could just do it from the side. You could color code these if it was a special day. You could make them all different colors. If you have something super fun and important on your list, like I have a live with Meg to jazz that up, I could just make a fun little arrow to really add some emphasis to that. And I could add some hearts around it to help me remember how excited I am for it. All right, but say I also had something else I wanted to add to that date, but I wanted it to kind of be divided. I can make dividers here, and I can remind myself there that it's also a payday. And this is for myself. I pay myself on the 15th each month. So some of the other kind of dividers that you could do, if you were dividing, you could do a dotted line for a divider. You could do a straight line with these little flares on the end. Okay. You could say it was, let's see, this is the last day of school right here, so let's add that in. I want to add a divider there. There we go. All right, something else we could do is, maybe I wanted to, let's see, Mother's Day is over here. Let's find that pink for Mother's Day. You guys see all the way over here? Move it over. Maybe we wanted to add a flag or a banner. So we wanted that to be emphasized for. Let's talk a little bit about making banners and such. I'm gonna break that down for you guys in some steps. Okay, so some of the different ways to do these things. So if you're gonna draw a banner, you can draw kind of a straight arching banner, and you're gonna draw your two lines, okay? And you're gonna connect those lines, all right? And then we want the tails of the banner to stick off. All right, so we're gonna draw one line out, and then I come down here, and I draw out, and go like that. Then we're gonna connect the two corners. So draw a line out, draw down and out, make triangles, and connect the corners. There you go. So then you can do a wavy banner the same way. Things and say this one we want one to go up high and one to go down low, so we'll do the same thing. Our tail that goes out, and our triangle, and connect the corners. This one we're going to go like that. Connect the corners, and we can add in some shading if we want. All right. Maybe you just want to make it look like a piece of washi tape. Another way to add in. Maybe we need to go to the doctor that day. Okay. Some of the other arrows I like to draw, I showed you guys I like to do curly arrows to point to things sometimes. Alright, so do a wavy arrow. These thick little arrows too that are kind of curvy to do those, to point to things. Or simple arrows like this. Color it in. And give it some tails. Alright guys, I hope that gave you guys some good ideas on how to add some fun lettering to your planners and make them extra fun and pretty. If you guys want to learn more about hand lettering, I do teach hand lettering in an online course called You Can Hand Letter, where we go through the whole alphabet and different ways to style it. And I also teach how to use Procreate. So you can find all of that on letterbystephanie.com. And if you're into planners that help with your mindset and reaching your goals, I've got a planner on Amazon called Make Today a 10. And it's an 8-week planner that focuses on how to find success in each day, how to work on our mindset, what do we focus on, what's one thing we can do to get closer to our goals to help us move the needle. And you can check out more of that on my website as well. So thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed hand lettering as much as I do, and I can't wait to see how you use it in your planners. So tag me online or send me a DM.